In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to take this unordered list and start to style it so it begins to look like a horizontal navigation. So let's go ahead and jump right in there. We look at our markup and we see that we have just a classic unordered list nested in this sort of div element for navigation, and then we had applied a border to the navigation div. So we're going to go ahead and start styling this up. I'm sure this every side I end up doing this over and over again, so I'm sure this tutorial you'll probably watch this one pretty regularly leading up to your midterm and final. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to decide. Now, one of the things that I kind of like to do, I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm not going to add the padding yet. Remember in the last tutorial I had done some padding and it moved those bullets out of the way, but I took it away because I wanted to demonstrate something. But there's something here that I want to say, especially when you're styling unordered lists, is that you could do a global style for unordered list, but I would sort of discourage that because sometimes you do want to use unordered lists. So if you add this global style to it for what we're doing for our horizontal navigation, you'll have to undo it later. So let's just focus in. So we're going to talk about these sort of chaining these selectors together. Now I do it this one particular way, and I'm not sure. I see it in books done a different way, but I kind of like teaching it this way. For one, it works, but it also sort of puts in your head the nesting of things. So first thing I want to do is I want to select that navigation div. So you see down here I already have navigation, but I'm going to leave that alone. What I want to do is select the navigation element, but inside that navigation element I want to select the UL. So I do navigation space UL. Now that's different than doing a comma because that's saying both that and UL, but if I just do navigation space UL, I'm sort of drilling into the elements. So inside there, the very first one I want to do is get rid of those dots. This is on your midterm. You do not want to have these dots apparently on the midterm. So we're going to do list, style, type, and we're going to make it none. And you'll see now that the bullets have gone away. So now we've gotten rid of those sort of bullets there. And so now I'm going to go ahead and add this padding back into 0px for my ULs and LIs. I'll save that. You'll see this padding go away. Alright, so that really basically addresses the UL. So now what I want to do is I can navigate. I want to do in the navigation element, and there's a UL, and inside the LI I want to use the display property. So what I want to do is push display inline. So now when I do that, these things will no longer be stacked vertically, they're going to be displayed inline. And so you can see now all those elements are side by side. Now, just to point out one thing, I don't actually have to put the UL there. I can delete that. And so now what that's saying, inside the navigation element, all LIs I want to be displayed in line. So you can see I don't always have to chain that out, which is sort of helpful when you're learning. So you see there's no difference there. Now what I can do, now that I've got that navigation, is that we have to remember I have an A element in there. So if you look at the code again, I have my LI, but then I have the anchor elements. So what I like to do is we're going to start kind of messing with the box model a little bit, and this is why I stressed in class to pay really close attention to the box model, because it's really fundamental into doing some presentation things later. So what I want to do is I want to select the navigation, and instead of, I could go UL, LI, and then A, but I'm just going to skip those and just say in the navigation element, all A's. I want to change the text decoration, and what that will do is turn off the underline. So now you see my anchor elements no longer have that default underline. Again, these are sort of arbitrary design choices I'm making leading up to some presentation thing that we're going to see later. By no means does this mean you should design your website the way I am. This is just sort of a baseline to get to the midterm. I mean, the design of your site, the sort of look of it all, that's something that's way more complicated than we could ever do in one class. It just takes time sort of figuring out what you like and what you look like. And of course, when Dr. Loke comes back, she will sort of tell you about the design of your site. I'm really just trying to teach you HTML and CSS at this time. So now that I've done the text decoration none, I can actually start going in and adding, say, some padding. So I'm going to do padding, and I'm going to show you the sort of the 4-side model. So I could do 5 pixels on the top, but actually I'm going to do 2 pixels on the top, 5 on the right, 2 on the bottom, and then 5 on the left. So if I save that and refresh, you see I'm starting to give some space. Top, bottom, left, right. That's good. So I'm starting to give some space to this. I'm actually going to do top, bottom, top, left. I'm going to turn off that, make that 0, just so you can kind of see what's happening. And then the last thing I'm going to do here, well, I may just leave it at that for the moment. One thing, well, I'll save this for the next tutorial. So in the next tutorial, I will sort of demonstrate how to just add background colors to these things, and we're going to get rid of our borders. So that's how you begin to create your, that is how you create the horizontal navigation. Of course, we can add more styles, padding, and sort of make this really fancy, and we'll kind of work that as we go through.